Well, let me ask you, Cody. If the lead is not working, is it the lead's fault?
No, sir.
No. So how do you fix that? And we realized he got us connected with some of the top performers in the insurance industry, in specifically final expense insurance, field agents. And we looked at the tools that they were currently using. The two most popular ones are Route For Me and Road Warrior.
Yes.
And nothing,
I've heard of both.
Yeah, nothing against those apps, but they're not designed for insurance at all.
Wow.
Right? And they're not specifically not designed for the insurance agent, the one who's going door to door. There's hundreds, thousands of leads that they're working on. Sometimes it gets a little confusing. You're not a delivery driver where all of the clients, every door you hit is the same. So just dropping this off. It's not like that.
Hey, welcome back to the CA Power Player Podcast. I'm your host, Cody Askins. Today, we have a special guest live and in studio. And I'm telling you what, man, this cat's a genius, and they've created something revolutionary for someone that needs to route leads and get in front of more people. And I'm telling you, there's some routing softwares. This one is unique and special, and you definitely want to tune in for the entire episode. So please welcome from Knock It Pro, Safir Qureshi.
Hey, Cody, how's it going?
Doing good, man. Dude, I appreciate you all the way from Canada,
Yeah.
Toronto, to be here, to hang out, to talk about Knock It Pro. I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me, man. I'm a part of a lot of businesses just like yourself.
Yep.
And I invest in a lot of different things. Like I'm originally not from the insurance industry. I mean, but you name it, I've been in the industry besides food maybe.
Yeah.
I invest in a lot of different businesses. And when I saw the insurance industry and I saw the gap that was there, even the highest performers could improve it by a little bit, and they can make their business a lot better. I thought it was something that it was definitely worth getting into.
I love it, man. Also, I want to add too that they're actually going to be giving away some leads, okay, and sponsoring an agent with leads as like a drawing as a part of today's episode. And so all you got to do during this is go download the app, Knock It Pro. Put in the referral code Cody Lead, CODY. Surely you can spell my name by now, okay? CODYLEAD, and that will not only get you access to the app, but it will also enter you into a drawing to win $1,000 of leads, of my leads that Knock It Pro is sponsoring. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, no problem, man. You do good work, so we gotta support where we can.
Appreciate that.
So basically, how this whole thing started is, like I said, I'm in a lot of different businesses: media production, automotive, fashion, you name it, right?
Fashion, dude, you got a little better fashion than me today, so I can see it. It makes sense.
Basically, wherever I see that gap. And because of those businesses, I've gotten to work with some of the world's most brilliant
Some of the
minds.
names you've been dropping, bro, are freaking impressive, man.
I worked directly with Jordan Peterson. I learned a lot from that.
Crazy.
Through my companies, I've worked with some really, really brilliant people, some of the top guys in Silicon Valley. In fact, last year we were working with Patrick Bet-David, and that's basically,
I love him.
Yeah, through my company, it's the DNA company that I'm invested in, and I met a gentleman there, not actually there, but as I was leaving for the airport, somebody came up to me. I had the Valuetainment bag, and he came up to me and he said, "How was the conference?" And I looked at him, oh right, the conference. Yeah, it was great. So we started talking. Hey, I'm Nate. Our friend Nate that we both know and love.
That's right, man.
And we started talking. We got to talking, and he told me about his business and what he does in the insurance industry. And I'm like, that's interesting. Tell me a little bit more. And then I ended up asking him a question, which I ask everyone. And I said, well, you seem fairly successful in your business and what you do. Is there a gap in the insurance industry that you see? And if so, how much of a difference do you think it can make? And his eyes lit up, right? He's like, oh, I see this, I see that, but the biggest problem is leads and and we had lunch, almost missed our flight because we're both at the airport. Wow. And he started talking to me about lead routing. And he said, a lot of people, they blame their source where they get their leads from, and they say, oh, that didn't work or this didn't work. Well, let me ask you, Cody. If the lead is not working, is it the lead's fault?
No, sir.
No. So how do you fix that? And we realized he got us connected with some of the top performers in the insurance industry, in specifically final expense insurance, field agents. And we looked at the tools that they were currently using. The two most popular ones are Route for Me and Road Warrior.
Yes.
And nothing,
I've heard of both.
Yeah, nothing against those apps, but they're not designed for insurance at all.
Wow.
Right? And they're not specifically not designed for the insurance agent, the one who's going door to door. There's hundreds, thousands of leads that they're working on. Sometimes it gets a little confusing. You're not a delivery driver where all of the clients, every door you hit is the same. So just dropping this off. It's not like that. So we realized that there were two types of people, two types of agents mainly. Ones that have their master route. They keep adding leads every single week, right? They end up with thousands and thousands of leads in the system, and they're now a little confused, right? They're like, okay, well, this guy, did he ask me to come back? You know, they've got multiple systems running.
I can see
like,
that getting super complicated.
yeah, and at that point, they're wasting time going through every single lead. Maybe they might remember a lead, and they're like, oh, yeah, this name, that name, et cetera, et cetera. Then there's number two, the guy who says, well, I don't have time for this. Maybe I'll work them for 2 weeks, and then I'm going to dump them, and I'm going to move on, and I'm going to keep going.
Yep.
So then they lose the lead. And as you and I know, usually leads don't die, right? You just got to work them and work them and work them as much as you can. So we created this thing called Knock It Pro. And we created this using the help of hundreds of different field agents, final expense agents, and their feedback, which was insane. We thought we had the perfect product. We come back, one of the top performer goes, well, you're missing this. It's like, oh, well, we can make this even better, right? And, Nate getting all excited. Yeah, we can add this feature and we can add that feature. And we put it all together, and we came up with...
Also, while you're getting that, it's funny you're talking about this. I used to use MapQuest Route Planner back in the day.
Oh.
Dude, it was brutal. I'd have to...
Dude, you won't believe... There are people that just write their stuff down, and they go get on an Excel sheet. They do it by post the zip code, and they're every single, time they're on there just trying to do what they can.
I would print it out and then have to literally still put it in my phone. Like, it was insane. It was nuts.
Oh, man. You know what? We're here to save the day.
Let's go.
That's
I love it.
So this is what these apps usually look like. All the icons are the same, right? You don't know where you're going.
Yep.
You don't know who asked you for what. Maybe somebody asked you to come in the evening. Hey, I'm going to be more available in the evening. Maybe somebody said, don't come by my door, call me, right? Maybe you knocked on that door 2 times.
Yeah.
Right? You don't know. So, or you want to just work one area, right?
True.
If you want to just work one area, these apps don't allow it. So what we've done is we've created this thing called a lasso tool, and you basically select, let's say you want to work this area. You just select this area.
Wow.
Boom, boom. And I want to add that the geniuses, we built this using some of the most brilliant minds in Silicon Valley, right? I have a company in Silicon Valley that does high tech stuff. They designed this, and they've worked on some of the biggest techs that you and I use pretty much every day. And so we built this as the fastest routing tool in the world, period, right? So it routed it all. And now you know where to go. Now, let's say you went to door number 5, and he says, well, come in the evening, right? I'm usually more free in the evenings. Now, you can add notes to it, which is great, but you can also just select the label. So next time when you're looking for it, it's right there in your labels. And you can keep adding and adding and adding until you have something that looks like this.
Wow.
Right? Now, for a person who's looking at this for the first time, they might be a little confused. Sure. They might be like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Do I have to route through all of this? And basically the answer is no. You can either select your stuff from the filters here to show on the map, or you can select the area that you want to work right here, and you just deselect the ones you don't want. Maybe you're going, you only want to work the hot leads and the new leads. So we just deselect everything here. And you click the route, calculate the route, and boom, there are your leads. Now, if you just want to see the ones that you want to work, great. You just toggle them on, and there you are. But where this really adds value is a lot of times as an agent, you are in an area and you're like, well, I got this. I know I have this client somewhere, or maybe you know their name and you're looking, you're trying to figure it all out. But if you have it on, let's say you're going from 18 onwards, right? You see a label that says, oh, door knock 2, which you've said. Oh, I'm just going to go and see if there's a person there. You see a new car on the driveway, you knock. Now you never have to lose that lead again, right? You never have to delete the lead. You don't have to do any, and all the information's on there. So when we finish this, right, you click the PDF attachment, you got their leads, you got all their information.
Amazing.
When we finished this, we were super excited. We brought this over to the agents. We were like, this is so great. And they said, yeah, this is great. But a lot of times I have to like add stuff as a kind of a reminder, and I'm adding it into my Google Calendar, and I'm adding it to my, I would love to just kind of have it there. And sometimes I'm looking for the lead. Okay, how do we do it so it's like connected to the lead? So we created this thing called tasks, where you can select a lead and you can just click, add a task, whatever type you want. You can add, whether it's a daily reminder if you want to, or a weekly reminder, or maybe an annual reminder. One of your clients' birthdays coming up.
Yeah.
It reminds you right in the app. And if you just go here, you will see all the tasks right here
for that day.
And let's say you have an incomplete task. Agents have so much going on. If you've got a regular conventional calendar, you're like, did I finish this? Did I not finish this? Well, over here, you can just click incomplete tasks, and it'll tell you all the tasks that you've not completed. Awesome. And you're like, okay, well, let me reset it and let me do this. Lastly, people like to do neighbor knocking, right? And when you go neighbor knocking, you're standing there, you're like, oh, I'm not sure. You're you're panicking and you're writing stuff down. And maybe if you're smooth with it, just like you are, Cody, you're still wasting time typing in the information. What we've done is we've made it very, very easy. You just click and hold, and the address pops up.
Wow.
Now you just need to add their name, maybe their birthday, and we've got all sorts of filters. You can filter by age, you can filter by labels, you can set the filters. It's very easy.
Cool.
And the best thing is we've tested this out with hundreds and hundreds of agents, and we've gotten amazing, amazing positive feedback. In fact, I can guarantee you, right? I can guarantee that if you are using this the way that it's supposed to be used, right? And your agency and your system is not better, right? One of the things that I've learned working with these brilliant individuals, such as Jordan Peterson, is that they have a system that they work within, right? Some of the most successful individuals, and I'm sure you know this too, is that they have a system that if you take that system and you apply it to somebody with their work ethic, it will make them just as successful. So what we've done is we've systemized this whole thing, right? And we've made it so that if you've got the work ethic and you're going out every single day, we've systemized it to make your life way, way easier.
It's awesome. I love it. It's sharp, man. I mean, it solves a big problem. I actually still believe that the easiest way for an agent to go consistently make sales and learn the business and learn people and selling insurance and all this and get good at objections and rejection and all this is to go door knock leads.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I think it's the best way to start.
Well, face to face. That's why we're here doing this face to face.
Yeah.
Right. It's just a whole different impression. And the reality of it is, there aren't bad leads, just bad systems. Yeah. You got a bad process. That's all it is. You're losing leads. A lot of agents that we spoke to, they said, well, the answer that I get from my higher up is buy more leads. Well, no, yes and no. Yes, buy more leads, but work your leads better first.
100%.
That's basically it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I love it, man. What did we miss? This has been that was incredible. I love that you actually able to walk through a live screen recording that we're able to show on camera as well. I think that's sick. We haven't done that before, but I want to do that more. That was cool.
Awesome, man. I'm glad you liked it. And you know what? The thing is that we're always consistently making changes based on feedback, right? And we're trying to improve as much as we can, because we do believe that once you systemize stuff, it does make things a lot easier. I noticed that some of the highest performing people that are making 6 figures or more, they said it has improved my system a lot, and everybody's recommending this to their agents. That's why I'm guaranteeing you, if it doesn't make your system better, reach out to us at Knock It Pro. I will personally give you your money back.
Wow.
Yep.
That's a bold statement, man.
Yeah, I'm super confident, man, because we've tested this out in so many agents. We're getting so much positive feedback, and we're actually taking that feedback. And some people say, we love this, but what if it had this and this and this? We go back to our team, we try to improve it as much as we can. We see how much of a need there is for it. We've only designed this for the insurance industry. We're not making sure that, you know, all delivery drivers get it. We're not making sure that we're hopping into another industry. We're just mainly for door knocking, for your labels, right? That's basically what it is. And like you said, it's the best way of selling.
Yeah, it is, man. It's cool. Yeah, I love it. So again, I just want to remind everybody too, like, not only do we want you to download the app, give it a try, but when you do that, make sure you put in the referral code Cody Lead. Knock It Pro is giving away $1,000 of my leads that you can also put right back in the app to make sure you can go use the app and door knock the leads and successfully be able to do that. So make sure you put in Cody Lead as the referral code when you download the app. Talk about that. Is there anything I'm missing in regards to that?
I think that pretty much covers the app.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot more features, but I think this is the core of it. Being able to use your leads more efficiently, being able to, like, you can just upload all your leads pretty quickly. And we've tried to make this as efficient as possible and obviously as effective as possible.
I love it. I love it. What else would you like to share today that we haven't talked through?
Well, you know, I know you're all about adding value, right? And one of the things that I was talking to a business partner about is he mentioned that respect is not given, it's earned. And I disagreed with that.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't think respect is earned. I think it's lost. I think everybody has some sort of a degree of respect for you until you lose it. And it's something that I wanted to talk to all the insurance agents out there, because a lot of people, they go, yeah, somebody was yelling at me and I had to do this, I had to do that. Well, maybe they're having a bad day, but they don't disrespect you. They might be disrespecting you within that moment, but they have zero opinion of you, right?
Correct.
So in terms of like working that lead itself, you know, going out there, a lot of times you have to look at your process, going back to that process thing.
Yeah.
What is it that you're doing that's not, well, how can I gain their respect? It's like, well, how can I not lose it? Focus more on that. Everybody has a preconceived notion. A lot of people, unfortunately, we live in a world where people do judge books by the cover, right?
True.
For me, you know, like I said, you're all about value. So I try to add value with our system. So it's not just about use our system and your life will be better. What else can I give to agents out there that I've used, that my sales guys have used in various different businesses? So that's one of the things that I definitely thought was quite interesting, and I thought I'd share it with you.
That is interesting, man.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
It's funny because I do think that, like, the average individual just hears something and they're like, oh, that must be true because I've been hearing it my whole life. You know, I mean, people always say, like, hey, if you find a penny, you know, it's you save it and you earned it. You know, it's like, yeah, it's just, you know what I mean? So there's all these phrases that we, like, have embedded in our head for decades as kids, from teachers, parents, whatever. And that's one normal one, you know, about respect and how it's like, what
are your thoughts on people that say just, you know, keep pushing hard and try not to get distracted and, you know, focus on the one thing instead of trying to focus on five or seven different things. What are your thoughts on that? I'm curious.
It's interesting too because certain personalities, clearly yours, clearly mine, man, it's hard for me to focus on just one thing. You know, like I want to accomplish a lot. Now, I do think that majority of personalities, they should focus on one thing, get really good at one thing before they get too carried away. But there's also personalities out there that like that want to have a couple different things going on. And actually they'll end up giving certain things more focus because they have more going on versus just having one and then goofing off the rest of the time. You know, like, it's interesting because when I first started in insurance, I just had insurance going on to a degree from a career standpoint, but I also think it was a benefit that I had full-time student athlete playing basketball, 21 credit hours of classes, practices, games, tournaments. Like, I had multiple things going on. And I actually was more efficient with my time during that when I had all of that going on versus I graduated from college. I just have insurance going on. And then I'm like, I have all this time. What the heck do I do? And then I end up wasting a bunch of time.
It's interesting you say that because it's all about organization, right? Here's what I think. I think you could focus on other things, but first figure your stuff out first. Figure out, you know, like the system again, right? I think the mistake that happens is a lot of people are disorganized in what they do. They want to do a bunch of things, but they don't have the organization. They don't have the team. That's also more important. That's also important. They have the wish. They don't have the mentality of I have to keep working and I think you have to work as hard as you can until you figure out a system. And a lot of times that system is closer than you think, right? Yeah. And for example, I have so many different companies that I'm a part of. I'm not sitting there every single day. I figured out a system where it can now kind of take care of its own.
Yes.
And I think you have too. I think that's where a lot of your success comes from, where it's like,
man.
one, I work with great people. Two, I've gotten a very good organizational system. But I think that in order to not be distracted from what you're doing, for example, like these sales guys, I think that in insurance, I think one of the reasons they're failing is because they're trying everything. Not within their realm of sales, but they're like, okay, I'm like, because I've spoken to a lot of them. I've spoken to the really successful ones that are also doing multiple things, and I've spoken to the ones that are just starting out, and they're like, oh well, I thought I would try it. I just wanted to get into a bunch of different things, so I thought I would try it. It's like, well, that's not the right mentality to go in with at all. No. It's like, if you said something like, well, I thought I'd figure out a system where it was successful. I tried everything I possibly could. I reached out to certain people, et cetera, and I started gaining some traction, but I realized that maybe it's not something I want to get into. Once you have that system figured out, then you decide yes or no.
Totally. Yeah. I always say too, like if you believe anything a little bit, you'll live it out in excess.
Yeah.
So maybe that is if they're like, I'm just going to try it.
Yeah.
But if you believe that you're just going to try it, then if you're just trying it and you're not super committed, when it gets hard, like you're going to live it out, and the trying is just going to be like, I tried it. You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
It's funny how that works.
Well, sushi, right? I used to not eat sushi at all. And it just
that makes two of us actually.
Yeah.
We make a good sushi next then.
Yeah, there you go. So it's like, I tried it. I don't want to, I like.
Correct.
Yeah. And it's like, I tried it a little bit, and I had just hung around people that love sushi, and they're like, start off with a shrimp tempura.
Yes.
So, and to be honest, that itself was a system. We started off small, and you kept growing. I think one of the other reasons is people want to get too rich too quick.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not saying you can't, because but again, you have to figure out the system. You don't have to figure out the industry. Right? Yeah. You don't have to figure out that's part of the process. But the first thing is you have to figure out that system.
Totally.
You're positioning a product in the market. Who's your target audience?
Yes.
What are they thinking? How are you going to get it out there? How are you going to close? A lot of people, most businesses, you ask them this, well, if I had a little bit more advertising money, if I had a little bit more sales, it's like, well, didn't you figure it out before you invested $500,000 into opening up this restaurant? Didn't you figure this out before you did this, et cetera, et cetera? So the system is very organizational skills. And to be honest, that's ironic. I'm saying that because I have people organize stuff for me because I can't, but organizational skills are very, very important. And I think when people say don't give up or hustle it out, it's not just like keep knocking on doors. Yeah, that's fine. Law of averages. The more doors you knock on, the more sales you're going to make.
Totally.
But it's also hustle to make your system better, right? Hustle to make sure that you have a better team. Hustle to make sure that you have everything that you're doing figured out. And just when you think you have it all figured out, find somebody who's more successful and ask them what they're doing better.
Yeah.
And then try to see what you can do, what you can learn from them. And then when you really have it figured out, move on to the next thing.
Yeah, that's one of the things they don't do though. Is actually ask somebody.
Well, most people don't, because it's because they feel like they've done everything that they possibly could, and a lot of times they just go, I tried, right? Well, we have the internet today. Everything's free that you can learn on YouTube.
Correct.
But the problem is there's misinformation, there's this, there's that. But I'm telling you, a lot of the information that's out there, if you learn, you can learn something positive from every situation. It's about the mindset, but you can learn if it's a very bad situation, you've just learned what not to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you failed, you just learned what not to do. So most people don't think like that. Most people are like, well, I tried everything. Well, what is everything? If you actually sit down with somebody and go, well, what is everything? Oh, well, I created a Shopify store and I ran some Google ads. Okay, well, how did you run the Google ads?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I did this, I did that, et cetera, et cetera. And I guarantee you will find, if somebody really did go through it, you'll find something small that can make a big change, or you'll find something big that they've been working on, making small little incremental changes, or they've just run out of patience.
Yeah.
Right?
But that was everything to them.
That was everything to them. They just sat there going like, well, okay, I tried. So when it comes to like specifically the insurance industry, a lot of people that I see that are just like kind of giving up. And Nate, he's great at what he does. And he's great at motivating people, and I've seen him do it. he keeps them going, right? But again, he has that system figured out, right? And lastly, you know, a lot of people I've met them, they say, oh, well, I don't really believe in mentors. To be honest, let's say you don't believe in mentors, right? Do you believe that there's somebody out there that has more knowledge than you? Figure it out, learn from them. You don't have to, you know, you'll be surprised at how many people go, yeah, absolutely, I'll help you. Ask for help.
You would be shocked.
Right? The biggest thing that you can do, like, is ask for help. People are always willing to help. 100%. They might not be like,
100%.
And they're always willing to answer questions, right?
Yeah.
And people love talking about what made them successful. They love doing that. Most people are too afraid, and then they've gone on YouTube and they've done everything that they can, and they get bored and they go to the next TV show and on and on and on. I tried everything I can. I spent 2 hours looking it up, and the rest was spent on. I didn't go and figure out a system, or when they're knocking on, you know, to be honest, I always say this, like, if you really want to check your ego and you really want to, you know, feel small, go into door knocking, go into sales. The level of rejection that you're going to get, right? That's why these guys, like the guys that come from the military, and they're really, really good because they have a task, they have a goal in mind, right? They don't care how they get there.
And they had to execute.
Absolutely. And it's like the most successful people that I've found, they don't look at like, okay, well, how do I make this process work? They go, where's my goal? This is my goal. I have to get to this goal. Okay, well, I tried this. I got rejected. This didn't work. And in the sales process, the same thing. Well, I tried this. This didn't work. I tried this. That didn't work. But my goal is the same, right? I tried door knocking. That didn't work. Oh, I tried this. Well, if your goal is to make the sale, keep that goal in mind and keep going with it. Once you figured that out, then you get into the whole process of, okay, and this is, again, like I said, there are people that are making six figures. They're making this same mistake. Once they're a little bit satisfied, they're satisfied. I'm making 200K a year. That's good enough, right? But that's where, like, I would say the most dangerous territory is, because most of the people will stop right there.
Yeah, they will.
Right? You have to look at, okay, well, I gotta do something more.
Yes.
And that's when a lot of people, when they do it, they go forward into, I gotta start a new thing. Well, first of all, have you mastered your craft? You're making all these sales. You've got people looking at pieces of paper, writing stuff down, right? Using apps that are made for delivery drivers. First, fix that process. If you're not fixing the process, you're not fixing you're not growing your business. Correct. Right? And a lot of people, they get comfortable too fast.
Yeah.
And if you truly have that process mastered, and if you feel like, there's nothing else you can add, find somebody more successful. Yes. See what they're doing.
So good.
And then because you've gotten there, it'll turn on your competitive juices. You'll get going.
Oh my gosh.
And eventually, maybe you can move on to the next thing.
Yeah. That's good, man. Look at that, dude. You get fired up. I love it, man. Passion's coming out. You can tell he loves this. He's also, too, you can tell when somebody's like been around the block, knows about business, and has a lot going on, and they move at a different pace typically too. It's interesting. Also, one thing you said, like, when I get in a funk, helping someone else does make me feel so much better. Like on that note that you said, I think Cardone's even got like an audio out there at some point where he said, like, dude, help somebody, man. Like, it'll make you feel better, and so it's interesting how that works.
What you will learn from helping somebody else, I'm sure if you've seen that interview where Elon Musk is doing a video with Mark Rober, and he goes, "Oh, is that just for the rocket or the thruster or whatever?" I don't know rocket science, but and he goes, "Oh, well, yeah, but now that you mentioned it, we should probably." And then a few years or a year or whatever later, he said, "Oh, by the way, while I was telling you about our stuff, I came up with that idea." So the stuff you will learn from teaching someone, because it'll allow you to rethink your process from the perspective of a learner.
True.
Right? And I've learned a lot from guys that are just starting in the industry.
Yes.
And that's another thing. Never think that somebody who has less knowledge than you can teach you more than what you already know.
Yeah.
Never. Because it might just be you helping them out, and you go, "Oh, well, I didn't think of it like that before." You're not going to believe how, while we were developing this app, the top engineers are sitting down with me and they go, "Well, no, we have to do this routing like this, and we have to," and then I start doing my research on, what about the 2-ops method? What about this? What about that? Right? And they go, "Oh yeah, interesting." Right? So I don't know I'm not even like a percent of what they might know. Sure. But it's just always sit down and try to have a conversation rather than try to be instead of just being their coach, and just have that conversation back and forth, and make sure that they're listening and they understand, because if they don't understand, you might have to explain it to them in a different way, and you might understand the whole thing better.
Yeah. Knock It Pro.
Yes.
Knock It Pro.
Part of the process.
Go download Knock It Pro. That's right, man. I love it. Well, dude, I appreciate you coming all the way from Canada.
Hey, thank you for having me, man.
Hanging out. This has been a blast. I'm excited. Also, one more time, download Knock It Pro. Put in the referral code CODYLEAD. You'll be entered into a drawing for $1,000 worth of leads, which we'll be doing here probably fairly soon. Okay. Dude, thank you for being a part of this thing, for showcasing the app, for walking through it live on camera, for flying all the way from Canada to the amazing, great US of A, and for being here in our studio today.
Awesome. Thank you for having me, man.
Appreciate you, brother. Yeah. Okay. Thank you guys for listening to Power Player Podcast. Let me know what you think, man. When you try this app, Knock It Pro, let me know what did you like? What are you currently using? How much better is this? How much more money did you make because you actually implemented a system that can help you knock and route leads? So let me know. And thanks for watching the Power Player Podcast. We'll see you on the next episode. Adios.
Hey, if you enjoyed this, I got another one you're going to love. It's right there. Click on it. See you in there.
I'm so excited for today's CA Power Player Podcast. I'm your host, Cody Askins. We got a special guest. He is back on the channel talking about how to sell life insurance from home. Here's what I love about this person. Yeah, I'm telling you, this will be one of the best.